So what are some foods that you can eat that actually make you feel full? How do you eat them?
The people who had the higher dose, 3 tablespoons of lost more weight, lost more body fat than the ones who had 1.
Gut health. Turns out the latest research shows that this is as important for longevity. Turns out the people who wound up having the best cognition, brain health, in the long run were the people that had a diet.
When you get up in the morning, this is a super little easy tip that I tell anybody. I tell the first thing you do is to, wherever your starting point is, this is the key thing. You can always begin a healthier life and you can win that battle easily by doing a couple of things. When you're sleeping, your body's burning fuel from your fat cells. You're losing weight, burning fat while you're sleeping. This is the important part. We know that hours is where you're going to start to get that benefit.
Feel full, you're less likely to overeat. What are some foods that you can eat that make you feel full, and how do you eat them to that better desired state?
Dr. William Li is an internationally renowned physician, scientist, and best-selling author whose groundbreaking research has changed how we think about food and metabolism. He's been at the forefront of fat-burning science, showing us how. The right foods can flip the body's natural switches to help us thrive. So what should you actually do at the table to start melting away harmful fat? Here's Dr. Li again, this time with a simple tip involving satiety.
First of all, foods that have a lot of dietary fiber, like chickpeas, legumes, lentils, white beans. You ever have a bean taco? One bean taco will make you eat less dinner later on. And that's because beans, with all that dietary fiber, have a satiety effect, not only on your gut, but also in your brain. And that's a good thing. And that dietary fiber, by the way, has a fringe benefit, a big one, which is dietary fiber feeds our gut microbiome. And that gut microbiome turns out to be much more important than we thought for longevity. This is an area that I'm super fascinated by, talking about gut health, anti-inflammation, and autoimmune diseases. It turns out the latest research shows that this is as important for longevity.
That fiber effect Dr. Li just described, it's like having a built-in portion control system that works automatically. Your brain gets the "I'm satisfied" signal before you can overeat, and your gut bacteria get fed at the same time. It's a win-win that happens with every single bite. But fiber is just one piece of the satiety puzzle. The second powerhouse nutrient that keeps you full and torches fat works differently. It doesn't just satisfy you, it actually costs your body energy to process it. That's right, this nutrient makes your metabolism work harder just to digest it. We're talking about proteins, and Dr. Li has some surprising insights about which protein sources give you the biggest metabolic advantage. This isn't just about building muscle. It's about choosing proteins that maximize your body's fat-burning potential while keeping you satisfied for hours. Here's what he discovered about the protein sources that matter most.
Protein is super important. Once you get beyond the age of 40, most people need to keep up and build up on their protein. The question is, what is your source of protein? I'm somebody who believes that having a balanced diet, more of an omnivore type of diet, you're opening your mind to eat anything that's good for you. Preference is also really important. You want to eat the things that are good for you, that you actually enjoy eating. Listen, you want to live long and live well. You want to do the things that you want to do. You don't want to actually feel like you're in a box or a cage. This is why the choice of protein becomes important. There's a lot of data and a lot of people that say that you should cut down or cut out red meat. I leave it for the people that really take a stance for or against that. You know, eating meat is part of an omnivore balanced diet. You can have red meat, poultry, fish. And if you want to go into the plant realm, you've got all these legumes and you've got plant-based proteins. There was a study on longevity that looked at different dietary patterns. What are the patterns that seem to lead to better brain health? Turns out the people who wound up having the best cognition, brain health, in the long run were the people that had a balanced diet, better than the vegetarians. We don't understand the whole aspect of it, but it just goes to show you, if you take a religious style side about your foods, you might actually be missing out on something that science is still in the process of figuring out. Balanced diet is actually there, and protein is one of those critical macros. There are things that you can get in meats that you don't get as well from legumes. For example, iron, because it comes from blood. Omega-3s, you're not going to be getting a lot of those Even in the animals that eat plants, you're not going to get as much as you get in fish. While it's absolutely true, eating a primarily plant-based diet is a generally better way to go. So far, all the evidence from longevity perspective says that eating more diversity is actually going to support your long life.
So Dr. Lee just laid out the case for dietary diversity, that balanced omnivore approach where you're not boxing yourself into nutritional corners. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just what you eat that matters for longevity, but when you eat it, think about it. You've got this perfectly balanced plate of proteins. But if you're constantly grazing throughout the day, are you actually giving your body the metabolic reset it needs? Dr. Lee's about to flip the script on everything you think you know about intermittent fasting. Forget those grueling 16-hour fasts that make you feel like you're in survival mode. There's a much simpler approach that you're already doing every single night.
Intermittent fasting is thought of as a health fad, a trend that everybody does. 16 hours of not eating and squeeze everything in 8 hours. Listen, that would be very hard for someone like me and probably like you. It doesn't work very well. There's more than one way to get at it. And the best way to intermittently fast is to take advantage of the fact that when you're sleeping, we're not eating. We're not eating, we're fasting. So sleeping is intermittent fasting. And when we get up and we break our fast, which is called breakfast, that's the best way to get intermittent fasting. But I got to give you a little understanding. After you eat the last bite of food the night before, your body is like, okay, is that it? That's the last drop of fuel we're going to get tonight? The moment it realizes you're not going to put any more fuel in your body, your metabolism recognizes, it goes from fuel storing mode. Come on, give some more. Let me put it in my fat. Oh, no more food. When you're sleeping and not eating, your body's burning down fuel from your fat cells. You're actually losing weight, burning fat while you're sleeping. We know that 8 hours of sleeping is the healthy amount of sleeping for all kinds of things, brain health and metabolic health and anti-aging and everything else. It's more like 7 to 9. 8 hours is where you're going to start to get that benefit. But let me tell you how anybody can expand their body's own hardwired fat burning period. So what you do is you expend it on both sides before you go to bed and when you get up in the morning. If you eat it at 7 and you're done at 8, when you put your dishes away, no more eating. There's no midnight snacking. Don't take a bag of chips with you and sit on the couch and watch the game or whatever else. When you put your dishes away, that's it. Now, let's say you go to bed at 11 o'clock. No more food and no drinking. Actually, tea is okay. And no more calories. That's 3 hours between 8 and 11 o'clock, 3 hours. You just bought yourself 3 extra hours of fat burning time. 11 to 7 in the morning, that's 8 hours. 3 hours plus 8 hours, that's 11 hours of fat burning just by not eating after you put the dishes away. Now, when you get up in the morning, this is like a super little easy tip. We're adults. You don't need to eat right away in the morning. Before I eat anything, I will go for a walk. I'll open the door, get some fresh air, read a book, check my email, whatever. Wait at least an hour from the time you wake up until the time that you put the first thing in your mouth. Now, that's 1 extra hour. By not eating right away, and you've got 11 plus 1 is 12 hours, 12 out of 24 hours, 50% of your day, you've had your body burning down harmful body fat, extra body fat. That's the simplest way to use intermittent fasting. 12 hours. Clinical studies have shown that 12 hours of fasting is plenty of time to lose weight over time. It's all very easy. Plenty of people are already doing this.
So Dr. Lee just revealed the secret hiding in plain sight. You're already intermittent fasting every night without even trying. Your body's naturally switching between storage mode and fuel burning mode while you sleep. But here's the plot twist. Once you do sit down to eat, most of us completely sabotage this beautiful metabolic dance our bodies are doing. Picture this. Your metabolism just spent hours doing its reset work, and then we rush through meals like we're in some kind of eating competition. We're missing the signals, ignoring the cues, and basically hijacking our own success. Dr. Lee's about to show us how the simple act of slowing down, really slowing down, can transform not just how we eat, but how our bodies respond to food. And it starts with a lesson from cultures that have been getting this right for centuries.
When you finally do eat, whether it's breakfast or lunch, you don't overfill your tank. It's all hardwired inside us. And the problem why we miss the cues that our body sends us that we have actually filled up our tank is because we eat too fast. Busy people tend to eat really quickly. That is a common mistake that we all make, is that we're distracted and we're used to just shoveling all the abundant food that's placed in front of us. In the Mediterranean, the enjoyment of the food, the mindfulness was completely different. Eat it slowly to savor it. That savoring the food is done in the Mediterranean and also in Asia. Wherever your starting point is, this is the key thing. You can always begin a healthier life and get over your own body fat. You can win that battle easily by doing a couple of things. First thing you do an assessment, a food diary, and just record what you're eating and how much you're eating every single meal. Snack, pop out that piece of paper or your notes section and write it down. Now, after 2 weeks, go back and look at it. And then you go on to the swap in phase. Let's talk about swapping in. Take something that you love to eat that's healthy and swap it in. Do an assessment. Step 1. Number 2, swap in. Number 3 is then do the intermittent fasting part. Don't overeat when it is time to eat. A Japanese saying that came from Confucius is called stop when you're 80% full. If you eat slowly and mindfully and take your time and savor your food, at some point when you put your fork down, you're going to go, that was pretty good. I like that. That's 80%.
The ancient wisdom of eating to 80% fullness reveals something profound about our relationship with food. But what if there were specific ingredients that could amplify these benefits? While mindful eating addresses the how of our meals, emerging research is uncovering the what that might accelerate our metabolic transformation. One ingredient in particular has sparked fierce debate in wellness circles. Dismissed by some as mere folklore, while championed by others as a miracle cure, but when rigorous scientific methodology meets centuries-old remedies, the results can be surprising. Dr. Lee's next revelation challenges us to look beyond the hype and examine what happens when researchers put one of nature's most controversial elixirs to the ultimate test.
Apple cider vinegar has both myth as well as fact. As a researcher and as a scientist as well as a doctor, how do we actually find the truth behind the myths? How do we bust the myth, as we say, in order to arrive at what's real and what is actionable? I was always skeptical about apple cider vinegar and weight loss, but then the research starts to come out. I critically evaluate, and the data shows that something is true or untrue. I've got to go with the data. So with apple cider vinegar, I was astounded to see that researchers in Japan had been studying a dose-dependent effect of apple cider vinegar on metabolism. And that's weight loss, reduction in body composition when it comes to visceral fat, it's lowering of inflammatory markers in the blood, the real research that one does in food as medicine. What I saw was really quite remarkable. First, in one of these research studies, they gave people what they called low dose, which is 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, versus high dose, which is 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. They studied this daily over the course of a month. And what they found indeed is that people who had any apple cider vinegar compared to a placebo, which is drinking water, that any apple cider vinegar would actually shrink waist circumference, which reflects how much fat is in the tube of your body. And that's visceral fat inside there. Over the course of a month, apple cider vinegar drinkers had a shrinking of their waist circumference, and they had less body fat, and their inflammatory markers also went down and lost weight. A couple of fine points. The people who had the higher dose, 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, lost more weight, lost more body fat than the ones who had 1 tablespoon. And that's a dose response, which is a good sign that there's something real biologically going on. The type of fat that was lost was visceral fat. That is the harmful inflammatory fat. Apple cider vinegar works. Now, a couple of things about it. When you break it down into what is happening. So guess what? It's not the apples in apple cider vinegar. It's not the apple source. It's the vinegar. It's the acetic acid. All vinegar is made with acetic acid. In fact, acetic acid is a definition of vinegar, which is another name for vinegar. So the chemists call it acetic acid. The chefs call it vinegar. And vinegar works by preventing fat cells in our body called adipocytes. Adipose, fat, site, cell. Vinegar, acetic acid, prevents fat cells from expanding. And it also impedes your body's own ability to make new fat cells. What does that mean? That means that apple cider vinegar is good. That's been shown in clinical studies, but it means that other vinegars are also good. White vinegar, red wine vinegar. There's all kinds of vinegars you can actually make with a variety of different fruits and vegetables, frankly, that can all be fermented to create that acetic acid. My health tip, please pick up the bottle and read the label for the ingredients, because you want to make sure that it really is indeed true apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar, and it doesn't have other ingredients added to it. Because well-intentioned companies will put additives into a vinegar in order to make it more appealing. Salad dressing is made with vinegar and oil, but they'll put all kinds of things in there to make that product seem more appealing, and those additives can actually be detrimental to your health and detrimental to your metabolism.
Dr. Lee's research shows that sustainable weight loss isn't about deprivation. It's about strategic optimization. From fibers, satiety power, to protein's metabolic boost, from intermittent fasting to apple cider vinegar's surprising science. These are evidence-based tools for transforming your metabolism. Whether you start with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar or begin timing your meals differently, each step builds upon the last, amplifying your body's natural fat-burning mechanisms. You're not alone in this journey. Join thousands of others transforming their health with these science-backed strategies. Hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss breakthrough research. That could change everything. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment about which strategy you're most excited to try. The science is clear, the tools are proven, and the community is here. What happens next is up to you.